Twin Jades of Jiangdong. Extra Chapter 01. Part 1. The golden sunlight sent 1,000 sparkles glittering across the surface of the ocean. Warm waves rose out of the ocean as the sea breeze came blowing by. A young man with his upper body bare and wearing a pair of board shorts, rode a surfboard as he flew towards the horizon. The sky and the ocean were the same color, and soon saw, his feet planted on the surfboard, turned and sent up a spray of water, carving out a trajectory beneath the towering wall of water as he sped along the front of the wave. Yoahu soon saw his hair was coated with sea water as he shot out through the tunnel in the wave. He whistled, and the young men all formed a line, turning at the same time, and 2 surfboards followed Soon Sa as they shot out. The seagulls cried out, and Soon Sa whistled, rapid and relaxed in turns. Gan Ning and Ling Tong followed behind Soon Sa, shooting forward to the front of the wave at times, and moving back in an S shape at times with the vortices created by the smaller waves that came down on them. A huge wave came towards them, sending Soon Sa off his surfboard. Put! Ha ha ha! Gan Ning laughed uproariously. Soon Sa swam towards the beach, dragging his surfboard behind him, his face set in an expression of resignation, yet still graced with a smile. He left behind a trail of footsteps in the sand. The sun's light shone down so strongly that he had to squint. His bronzed skin, which resulted from years of constant sun, was covered in a mixture of seawater and sweat, and he stood under the sun as if he was a beautiful sculpture, the muscles of his chest well defined and proportional. "Let's call it here for today," Soon Sa shouted. Gan Ning and Ling Tong shouted back in the affirmative, as they continued to surf on their own. Soon Sa bought a bottle of soda and slammed it down on the table, reaching out to grab a straw and stick it in. His surfboard was clasped under his arm, and he stood by the side of the road, lost in his thoughts as the sun shone down on him. His phone sounded. "Hey," Soon Sa said, his face filled with smiles. Soon Sa, right, the president of the student council asked. "Your group's still not signing up? You've got to hurry it up, there's only 3 more days before the deadline." Okay, Soon Sa said. "Before they end the sign UPS, we'll definitely come." The president then asked, "Have you gathered all the members of your team?" You see," Soon Sa said, "Lu Bu went home. This summer, he went home to see a doctor, so he won't be able to come back. I'll find another teammate, so that we can have 4 people for the competition." Soon Sa, a gleeful voice said on the other end, "If you can't gather a full team, then you'd best give up." Soon Sa's face darkened. The president shut off the speakerphone, saying, "Hurry up and hand over your form, I'm about ready to count the total number of teams participating." "Okay." Soon Sa's eyes darted back and forth, and he was thinking that no matter what, he had to pull someone in so that they could at least reach the number of participants required. Otherwise, if they could not gather enough people for the surfing competition this summer, they were done for. But the more anxious he grew, the harder it was for him to find someone. He stood on the beach and stared towards the ocean for a long while, but no matter what, he couldn't find someone suitable. Even if it was a shark, as long as it could swim, Soon Sa might have put its name on the list. But just as he was reaching the end of his rope, he suddenly saw someone coming towards him on the beach. Zhou Yu walked out of the changing room, took off his sunglasses, shed his shirt and tossed it on the reclining chair, and wearing a striped tank top and board shorts, he ran towards the ocean, his wakeboard in hand. Some people on a speedboat shouted to him, and he called back distantly in response, his voice strong but pleasant to the ear. Zhou Yu grabbed the drag line, and the speedboat slowly sped up, going faster and faster. The board under Zhou Yu's feet sent up an arc of snow white, which, as if it was dragging the roaring wave along with it, went curling outwards amidst the blue sky and water. That dragon seemed to be alive, and it roared angrily at the sky above, as Zhou Yu took off into the air, somersaulted, rotated, and leapt over the wave, flying towards the vast ocean. The speedboat circled several times over the surface of the water, and Zhou Yu let out a loud shout. It was as if he was flying, as he went crisscrossing above the surface of that cerulean plain. Finally, the speedboat slowed, and Zhou Yu tossed the wakeboard onto the speedboat, before he swam back to shore. He tossed his head, shaking off the water, and his wet hair fell messily against his forehead. Zhou Yu took off his tight-fitting tank top, revealing his powerful arms and the clearly defined muscles of his shoulders and back. The lines of his waist were beautiful, and he had a visible Adonis belt. He was wearing a pair of flip-flops and a pair of board shorts as he twisted open the cold water faucet, standing under the sun as he rinsed himself off. A towel came at him, landing on his head. Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu turned and glanced back. Sun Sa smiled at him. Together? Sun Sa asked. Zhou Yu waved a hand and replied, I'm tired. Zhou Yu's hair was a little long, and it covered his eyes, so he didn't get a clear glimpse of Sun Sa. He simply nodded politely at him. Sun Sa continued, How many years have you been surfboarding? Zhou Yu. Evidently, Zhou Yu didn't really want to talk to Sun Sa, because after he finished washing the seawater out of his hair, he handed the towel to him and left. The first round, Sun Sa's attempt to be friendly failed. Zhou Yu laid on the beach chair, soaking in the sun. Seawater had gotten into his eyes, and they were a little red. He ruffled his hair uncomfortably, before a bottle of eye drops came flying at him from the side. When he turned to look, Sun Sa was there again. Thank you, Zhou Yu said this time. This beach provides so many services. Sun Sa. I'm not a lifeguard. Sun Sa was torn between laughing and crying, knowing that Zhou Yu had mistaken him for a lifeguard. He laid down on the reclining chair next to Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu found it a little odd as well. This guy had been following him for the entire time, and just now, when he had been skimming over the surface of the water, he had already noticed Sun Sa on the shore. He dropped some eye drops into his eyes, but when he saw that Sun Sa was studying him without blinking, with an expression like he was about to drool at the sight of him, he couldn't help the shudder that ran down his back. You've got some nice abs, Sun Sa said jovially. Your legs are also long, and your arms are powerful. Under that stare, Zhou Yu felt as if he was naked, and goosebumps rose all over his body as he replied, Thanks, you're not bad yourself. Zhou Yu's expression was cold and reserved. Sun Sa reached out to pat him, since Zhou Yu was bare-chested and wearing nothing more than a pair of board shorts, but Zhou Yu swiftly covered his chest with his tank top, afraid that Sun Sa would go feeling him up. Don't be afraid, Sun Sa said earnestly. I don't have any hidden intentions. I want to tell you a story, do you want to listen to it? Zhou Yu. Sun Sa leaned back in his reclining chair and continued, My dad used to contract this beach out. The waitress in charge of the drinks stall brought 2 iced drinks over, and Sun Sa continued, Before, when my dad was around, he would hold a surfing competition every year. Later, he left, and since I was studying at Haven University, it was up to me to take care of the beach as well. Do you like surfing? And as he spoke, Sun Sa turned to look, only to find that the beach chair to his side was already empty of any occupants. Zhou Yu had already left. Sun Sa. The second round, his attempt at being friendly failed again. Let me finish. Sun Sa called from afar. Zhou Yu held his shirt in his hand as he pulled open the door to a Maserati stopped by the roadside. With a sheng, the Maserati drove away. Sun Sa pressed one hand to his forehead as he leaned up against a coconut tree, and he was speechless for a long time. The next day, in Haven University, the great bell rang 9 times, and the students entered the teaching building. They each opened up their lockers to retrieve their books to prepare for the finals. Sun Sa walked in, opening his locker with an expression of irritation, as he began to search for his things. Hey, Lu Bu asked indifferently next to him, have you filled your team, Sun Sa? Sun Sa glanced at Lu Bu, but ignored him. There's a new student. He's enrolling at this time. Did he go through the entrance exam? The girls all chattered away. When Sun Sa heard their voices, he lifted his head and looked curiously out of the window, only to see a white Ferrari stopped by the school gates. A tall, burly guy, wearing a pair of sunglasses, walked into the teaching building. Wow! The entire hallway exploded into noise. Zhou Yu and the dean talked as they walked up the stairs. The stares of the people in the hallway made them feel very uncomfortable, and finally, the dean said, "You'll be in Class C for the finals." "Okay," Zhou Yu replied politely. Zhou Yu was taller than the dean by half a head, about the same height as Sun Sa. He took his key and went over to open up his locker, but his locker was right next to Sun Sa's. When he twisted the key in the lock, the two of them saw each other. Sun Sa was wearing a white button-up, suit pants, and leather shoes, his tie tied haphazardly. Zhou Yu's school uniform was crisply pressed, and he stood with his back straight. The two of them looked at each other for a moment. "Ha ha, it's you," Sun Sa said. "Oh, it's you," Zhou Yu replied politely. Sun Sa continued, "I almost couldn't recognize you with your clothes on." 3 seconds later, laughter swept through the hall, and Sun Sa realized the innuendo in his words. Zhou Yu's face was bright red, and he flusteredly put on his sunglasses, waving his hands desperately to contradict those words. Sun Sa continued, "We were only surfing together." Surfing. But the more Sun Sa tried to explain, the deeper the pit he dug for himself. Amidst the laughter, Zhou Yu walked away, his face and ears bright red. Sun Sa had no choice but to organize his books and walk into his classroom to take the exam. Today's class was an open book exam on fluid dynamics. Sun Sa's build was large, so he sat in the last row. After Zhou Yu walked in and took a look, there were no spots, so he had no choice but to sit in the last row as well. He just so happened to share the same desk with Sun Sa. The first half of the class was a lesson, and the second half was their final. Sun Sa scooted over to talk to Zhou Yu. "Huanan University," Zhou Yu replied. "I transferred this year, and the principal told me to take the finals in place of my entrance exam." Sun Sa nodded, and Zhou Yu put on headphones, looking impassively at the equations on the blackboard. The corners of Sun Sa's mouth twitched slightly as he pulled out his notebook to review his notes. It wasn't until the exam that Sun Sa asked doggedly, "Isn't Huanan an exclusive private school for the children of rich people? Why'd you transfer to Haben?" "My dad passed away," Zhou Yu replied easily. He took the exam paper and began to take the fluid dynamics exam. Sun Sa worked steadily through the exam, while Zhou Yu stared uncomprehendingly at the paper. Sun Sa chuckled internally to himself. He could almost see the %@ symbols floating above Zhou Yu's head. Even simply writing down his name had Zhou Yu looking a little like he was going to lose it. "Why are your school's exams so hard?" Zhou Yu asked. Sun Sa whispered back, "Public schools are all like this." Sun Sa was rolling around laughing internally. Zhou Yu sucked in a deep breath before, with great difficulty, he managed to get himself under control, and he filled out a few question and answer questions. His handwriting was very good, and the words he wrote flowed across the paper, but he had answered a lot of the questions wrong. Sun Sa glanced at his exam, and Zhou Yu put his forehead into his hand, using his forearm to block his exam paper, afraid of the embarrassment he'd feel if Sun Sa saw it. Of his own accord, Sun Sa pushed his exam paper towards Zhou Yu's side a little. Zhou Yu's expression was very conflicted, but finally, he held himself back, accepting Sun Sa's friendly offer of help. Sun Sa slumped on the table and began to nap. The bell rang, signaling the end of class, and Zhou Yu took his and Sun Sa's exam papers to turn them in. The sun shone down brightly from outside. Gan Ning and Ling Tong were waiting in the hallway for Sun Sa to join them for lunch, only to see Zhou Yu walk out first, and soon Sa follow behind him, with a one-shoulder bag slung across his back. When Soon Sa saw them, he said to Ganning, "We're not practicing in the afternoon, go eat on your own." "Hey! What's your name?" And as he said that, Soon Sa chased after Zhou Yu. Ganning let out a scornful che. Zhou Yu was carrying a $250,000 shoulder bag, and he wore a $400,000 watch. He stood in front of his locker and took his wallet out. "Let me treat you to a meal." "I'll treat you to a meal, I don't want to owe you a favor," Zhou Yu replied formally. Soon Sa began to chuckle, and he slung an arm around Zhou Yu's shoulders. Zhou Yu's face filled with black lines, and the two of them climbed upstairs to the high-class restaurant to eat lunch. "Order what you want." Zhou Yu tossed the menu to Soon Sa, and he sat cross-legged in the chair. They were sitting in a spot close to the floor-to-ceiling windows, and Zhou Yu looked outside unconcernedly. Soon Sa's family also had some money, but compared to Zhou Yu, it wasn't even worth looking at. The two of them sat together, and Soon Sa ordered the dishes. This was the most luxurious restaurant at Haven University, and right outside was the vast ocean. "How did you end up here?" Soon Sa asked. Zhou Yu replied, "My dad passed away, and my mother moved for a change of scenery. It's easier to go from here to visit her, it's only 3 hours by car." Soon Sa nodded, his expression one of sympathy and regret. The food came, and Zhou Yu only ate a little before he stopped. Soon Sa cut into a steak as he said, "The scenery isn't bad, right? Your family contracts the beach out?" Zhou Yu asked. "It'll be gone very soon," Soon Sa replied easily. "Gone." Soon Sa put down his knife and fork as he saw another student walk towards them in the restaurant. His hair fell sloppily over his forehead, and a cigarette dangled in his mouth. He grinned at Soon Sa from a distance. "Soon Sa, is this your new team member?" "That's right," Soon Sa said, a smile playing about his mouth as he raised an eyebrow. "You all are doomed to lose this time." "Wait," Zhou Yu said, frowning. "What?" "I haven't agreed to be any sort of teammate." Soon Sa's fork twirled a few times in his hand, before he pointed it at the student in the distance. "Lu Bu, you'd better not have any ideas about our side." "Hey," Lu Bu said, crossing his arms as he leaned on the table. "Whoever wins the championship for this time surfing competition will have the right to rent the beach first. The Haven Beach are the competition grounds that have been selected for this year's International Surfing Championship. You won't be able to be the host." "Wait and see," Soon Sa said. The corners of Lu Bu's mouth quirked up, but the smile did not reach his eyes. Soon Sa calmed down, and his expression changed. Zhou Yu leaned back in his chair, his back to the seat back, and he looked out of the window as if his thoughts were turning in that direction. The sun came shining down in the space between them. "Help me," Soon Sa suddenly said. "I know you can. You know how to surf." "I'm not interested," Zhou Yu replied, bored. Soon Sa asked, "What are your hobbies?" Soon Sa began to smile. His smile was very handsome and very pleasing to the eye, and when Zhou Yu saw that smile out of the corner of his eye, he actually found himself unable to look away for a moment. "I don't like anything, I don't have the energy," Zhou Yu said. Soon Sa asked, "Why don't we go play video games? Should I introduce a few of my brothers to you?" Zhou Yu replied, "We ate this meal, so we've cleared the debts between us." "That's that." Zhou Yu put on his sunglasses and reached out a hand. Soon Sa fell silent for a moment, before he let out a sigh, untied his napkin, tossed it on the table, and rose and left. In the afternoon, Soon Sa smoked 2 cigarettes outside the teaching building. When he looked up, he saw Lu Bu and his cronies taking their surfboards to go surfing, their faces filled with mocking laughter. Soon Sa tossed his cigarette away and went to the student council to ask, only to be told that if their team was not complete, then they were not allowed a form. He had no choice, so he could only go back to his dorm. Sun Sa was feeling irritated, and he prepared to take a nap, only to come face to face with Zhou Yu when he opened the door. Both of them froze. "This is your dorm." The corners of Zhou Yu's mouth twitched faintly. "You stay here," Sun Sa said. "I'll go swap." "I'll swap," Zhou Yu said. Sun Sa was the only person living in his dorm room. Zhou Yu was a new student, so neither of them had expected that he would have ended up being assigned to Sun Sa's dorm. "Sun Sa, why don't you reconsider?" "Zhou Yu, I won't join your surfing team." "Give up." Sun Sa found that odd. "Why?" "There's no why, I don't want to," Zhou Yu said. Sun Sa was already irritated to begin with, and when he heard these words, he really wanted to send a punch right on Zhou Yu's face. Zhou Yu went outside to the dean's office to request a change in dorms, but Sun Sa also followed him out. With a thud, the wind blew the door closed. Sun Sa, Zhou Yu. The two of them arrived one after the other at the dean's office, but the reply was within their expectations. There were no more dorm rooms, so you two live together for now. But with that, Sun Sa and Zhou Yu had no choice but to go back, only to find that their keys had been locked inside their room. Sun Sa bent over, and Zhou Yu stepped onto Sun Sa's back. The two 1.8-meter tall guys had to work together to climb up onto the second floor. "Careful," Sun Sa said. Zhou Yu pulled the flower pot on the balcony off, and with a pen, both of them found themselves covered in dirt. Zhou Yu roared angrily, "What's a man like you doing raising flowers on your balcony?" Sun Sa replied, "Is it any of your business?" Zhou Yu was filled with rage. They finally managed, with great difficulty, to climb back into the dorm room. He was covered in dirt, and the shirt that had cost him thousands of dollars had a black splotch over it, as black as Zhou Yu's expression. Zhou Yu's face was dark as he patted the dirt off to one side. Sun Sa, on the other hand, kicked back, dirt still in his hair, as he mocked, "You don't wash your own clothes at home, isn't that right?" Zhou Yu ignored Sun Sa, so Sun Sa, minding his own business, sat down to play on his PS5 for an entire afternoon. Time flew by, and soon it was evening. Sun Sa asked, "Do you want to go eat?" Zhou Yu was truly at the end of his rope. He had taken several showers already. Sun Sa knocked on the door, but when he saw Zhou Yu showering inside, he forced his way in. Zhou Yu's body was covered in bubbles, and he was greatly frightened by that. He said loudly, "What are you doing?" "Giving you shampoo," Sun Sa said. Zhou Yu hadn't brought anything with him to school except for money, so he had no choice but to use Sun Sa's things for now. Sun Sa then tossed him a towel, a tank top, and underpants. Zhou Yu very well couldn't just run outside buck naked to dig through his luggage, so he had no choice but to wear Sun Sa's for now. When he came out, Sun Sa had wandered off to who knows where. As night fell, a strong wind began to blow outside. Zhou Yu lay in the dorm room, bitter suffering and strong resentment appearing on his face, only for Sun Sa to return with food. "You want to eat?" Sun Sa had bought 2 portions worth. Zhou Yu had just arrived, and he was not familiar with the lay of the land. He only knew that dining hall from that afternoon, and he wasn't in the mood to go there and eat there. Usually, at home, the food had been brought to him after it had been cooked, and he had only eaten a little at lunch, so now he was so hungry that his stomach beat out a rhythm inside him. "I'm digging in," Sun Sa said. The fragrance of the food wafted to him, and Zhou Yu's stomach began to complain. Sun Sa continued, "Get down here quickly to eat, or should I feed you instead?" Sun Sa held up his own bowl of food and knocked his spoon against it. Zhou Yu said wildly, "Don't spill it on the bed." "Get down here," Sun Sa said. Zhou Yu had no choice but to climb obediently down. Sun Sa handed the food to him, while he sat to one side watching the small TV. As Zhou Yu ate, He watched Sun Sa watching TV. Zhou Yu, can you not watch this kind of video while other people are eating? Sun Sa had his earbuds in, and the volume was so loud it was basically leaking out of his earbuds. He turned his head to the side and glanced, only to see Zhou Yu waving his spoon, protesting his choice of channel furiously, so he had no choice but to change the channel. Pleasant Sheep and Big Wolf started playing, and Zhou Yu almost spat out his food again. Is it very disgusting? Sun Sa asked. It's pig feed, Zhou Yu said, his expression crestfallen as he pulled out a napkin to wipe his mouth. At night, Zhou Yu was hungry again. It was lights out in the dorm, as Zhou Yu asked, where can I get a midnight snack? Sun Sa replied, there's no midnight snacks to be found anywhere. Zhou Yu asked disbelievingly, this campus doesn't even have a midnight snack stall. Nope. Do you eat instant noodles? Braised beef flavor. What's instant noodles? Sun Sa had no choice but to climb out of bed and dig through his own storage cabinet, making some instant noodles for Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu wrinkled his brows with distaste, but in the end, he could not win out against his hunger, so he devoured the entire bucket's worth. Several days passed like this, and Zhou Yu lived worse than if he was dead, his expression one of abject misery. From time to time, Sun Sa would sneak glances at him, simply feeling that Zhou Yu was very amusing. During tests, Zhou Yu would not know how to solve 9 questions out of 10, and when it came to one of the general education courses, which Sun Sa wasn't taking, Zhou Yu had no choice but to scribble down some random answers. To his side sat a tall, handsome guy. His shirt was a little old from constant washing, but he worked diligently through his exam paper. Let me borrow your calculator, Zhou Yu whispered. When that person looked up and glanced at Zhou Yu immediately recognized him as one of the people on Lu Bu's team. He was, however, pretty easy to talk to, and he handed him his calculator. When they handed in their tests, Zhou Yu saw the name that he had written on his exam paper, Zhao Yun. After they handed in their tests, Zhao Yun chatted with Zhou Yu a little longer. He asked, are you joining Sun Sa's surfing team? No, Zhou Yu said. I don't plan to do so. Zhao Yun chuckled. And here I thought that there'd be a strong competitor this time around. You really won't consider it? Zhou Yu replied, resigned, aren't you two enemies? It's a competition, though I also hope that my competitors will produce an outstanding performance. Zhao Yun picked up his backpack and nodded warmly at him as he bid him farewell. Zhou Yu stuck one hand into his pocket, not wishing at all to return to the dorms. Sun Sa went around all day wearing his underwear, and he would sit in their dorm room with his legs propped up, his earbuds in, watching TV. Though he was also very handsome, the way that he sat made Zhou Yu irritated for some reason. When he came downstairs, he saw Lu Bu. He didn't wish to get involved in the competition and the grudges between the two teams, so he nodded shortly as he passed by Lu Bu. Evidently, however, Lu Bu was not planning on letting him go so easily, and he stuck out an arm, pressing it against the wall. Come up to the roof for a chat, Lu Bu said. Zhou Yu replied, are you a high schooler? Scheduling a fight up on the roof. Just say what you have to say. Lu Bu instantly choked and could not speak. Zhou Yu was already very tall, but Lu Bu was over 190 centimeters, even taller than Zhou Yu by half a head. He glared down at him from above. You're joining Sun Sa's surfing team? Lu Bu asked coldly. Zhou Yu replied, I wasn't originally planning on doing so, but I can't resist wanting to ask you. Zhou Yu took off his sunglasses, and he and Lu Bu looked sharply at each other. Without Sun Sa as an opponent, won't you find it rather boring? Lu Bu let out a cold grunt. Zhou Yu continued, what grudge do you two have against each other? I don't like how he looks, Lu Bu said coldly. Lu Bu, a voice filled with threat said from upstairs, if you dare to harm my people. Sun Sa appeared, and as he walked down the stairs, he rolled up his sleeves, revealing the tattoos on his forearms. Don't blame me for fighting you right here and now. Who's yours? Zhou Yu was at his wit's end. Lu Bu evidently feared Sun Sa a little. Though he was used to fighting, he could very well get pinned with a serious offense if they fought in the corner of the stairwell. Okay, Lu Bu said, you two have guts. Lu Bu. Zhao Yun had come as well, and he appeared at the bottom of the staircase. I've been waiting for you to come eat for so long. What are you trying to do now? Lu Bu had no choice but to give up on giving Zhou Yu a hard time, and he and Zhao Yun left. Sun Sa said, don't be afraid of him. He doesn't dare to start a fight with me. Zhou Yu shot Sun Sa a glance, but he ignored what Sun Sa said, and with a dark expression, walked away. 1 week later, their last exams were done. When Sun Sa walked back to their dorm room, he was outside and just about to go in when he heard Zhou Yu talking on the phone inside. Zhou Yu's voice said from inside. All right. I haven't argued with any classmates. Yes, I've made a few friends. Don't worry, take care of yourself. I'll be back in a few days, I've passed all my exams. No problem, relax. Yes, I live with my roommate. What? Oh, it's. A silence fell over the room for several seconds, before Zhou Yu's voice floated out again. He's called something CE. Sun Sa. Yes, I'll definitely get along with him. Zhou Yu hadn't hung up yet when Sun Sa pushed the door open and came in. He said jovially towards the phone, hello, Auntie. Zhou Yu immediately put his hand over the microphone, but an amiable female voice sounded from the internal speaker. Hello. When you have a chance, come home with Zhou Yu to play. It's break now, isn't it? Sun Sa pried 2 of Zhou Yu's fingers away, and he smiled towards the microphone. I will. I'm going to shower now. Zhou Yu whispered, but Sun Sa didn't reply. Instead, he headed inside to shower. Zhou Yu talked for a while longer outside, and when Sun Sa finished showering, he came out to gather up the clothes. The wind outside was getting stronger and stronger, but Sun Sa continued smiling happily without looking at Zhou Yu. That continued until he went back inside, and both of them were a little awkward about it. The scores would be released tomorrow. Sun Sa turned on the TV, there was a typhoon warning. Are you going home for the break? It was rare for Zhou Yu to strike up a conversation. I don't have a home to go back to, Sun Sa replied. My mom and my younger brother are both overseas. My mother's with my brother as he finishes his studies. Zhou Yu didn't say anything more. When Sun Sa saw that they were predicting the typhoon to be a level 8, he asked, are you going back tomorrow? This hellish place, Zhou Yu said, I don't want to stay here even a moment longer. Let me borrow your laptop. Sun Sa replied, I'm really curious. Why do you always keep your face so grumpy, can't you smile once in a while? Zhou Yu, what is there to smile about? You have so much to smile about. Sun Sa patted Zhou Yu's shoulder, asking, what are you going to do when you go home for the break? Not much, Zhou Yu said. Keep my mom company. Sun Sa said, you were learning construction before. What did you want to be? An architect. How's that any of your business? Zhou Yu asked. He didn't stop in his movements of turning on the computer to check his scores. Sun Sa said, let's go do something during the break. I'll take you to go surfing. I won't go, Zhou Yu replied. I don't have spare time to waste on that. Sun Sa let out a sigh, before saying, whatever wishes you have, I'll help you fulfill them, as long as you come surfing with me. Tell me what's troubling you. The exam scores portal was loading. Zhou Yu stopped, and he turned to look at Sun Sa. Sun Sa, What does your family do, to be so rich? Real estate. Soon saw, then how'd you end up here studying marine biology? The score portal appeared, and Zhou could not believe his eyes. Soon Sa scooted in front of the computer, and what he saw was that Zhou had failed 3 of his 8 finals, and the rest of the 5 were all 61 points. Evidently, the teachers had been very merciful and let him pass. Zhou soon saw Ed, and he smiled as he said, "You did pretty well. Here, let me check mine." If the raging waves outside were caused by the sea wind, then in this moment, as Zhou faced his scores of 17 on the fluid dynamics exam, 22 in advanced math, 37 on engineering drawings, a huge wall of water rose in his heart, threatening to drown the world. Soon Sa checked his own scores. He had failed 4 of his 8 classes, and he needed to take the makeup exams for the other 4. "Look at you," Soon Sa praised him, "even though you copied me, you still scored better than me." Zhou finally collapsed mentally, and he raged, "Aren't you a brilliant student? Since you're a dunce, why are you letting others copy off your exams? That's not how it goes, okay? Are you insane? Did you get your head caught in a door?" Soon Sa replied, "Don't be so angry, if I didn't let you copy you wouldn't know how to solve them anyways." Zhou almost slammed the display down on Soon Sa's head. He had never encountered such a thing in his life, not for his entire life, from when he was born until now. Hey. Where are you going?" Soon Sa hurriedly called. Zhou slammed the door firmly behind him, just like Noro leaving home, slamming it so hard that the entire dorm building shook because of it. Soon Sa scratched his head, not understanding why Zhou was mad again. Zhou was wearing shorts and slippers, and his arms were bare as he stood on the dike. On the pitch-black shore, the wild wind sent the sea rushing angrily towards them, while a ball of warm tropical air formed above the ocean. The sea water rose into a huge mountain range, as it was pulled into the air by a huge hand, before it came toppling down towards the shore. In the darkness, it came crashing down like it could topple mountains, as if it was announcing the powerlessness of humans in the face of the power of nature. The entire world shuddered because of it. The sea water thundered into the air, before it came pressing down on them thunderingly. Zhou rode his surfboard, and in the face of the 10+ meter tall waves that the typhoon sent up, rushed right into the pitch-black sea. "Are you looking to die?" Soon Sa's voice shouted fleetingly amidst the roar of the wind, as if it was a leaf being swept into the sky by the gale, vanishing completely. He took off his shirt and rushed into the sea to search for Zhou. Zhou was sucked into the darkness by the waves, and as Soon Sa opened his mouth to shout hey, he drank a mouthful of water, the wave coming down right on his head and pushing him deep into the water. Instantly, the world went deafeningly quiet. The currents that the strong winds stirred up in the turbid sea water flowed backwards towards the shore. Soon Sa stuck his head out and took a breath. Before sinking back down, he had found Zhou. He was floating in the water, struggling furiously, fighting against that huge hand that was dragging him into the abyss. Soon Sa's head slammed against a rock, and he immediately fainted. He sucked in a mouthful of seawater, and he woke again. In the darkness, he grabbed Zhou's slippery hand, and he immediately locked his hands around his wrists. The two of them struggled as Soon Sa grabbed his arm, dragging him up onto the rock. Amidst the raging sea and the wild winds, Zhou coughed loudly, vomiting up all that sea water over Soon Sa's bare back and arms. Soon Sa turned back to say something, before he grabbed him firmly. Zhou replied with something, but neither of them had heard the other's shouts. In the end, Soon Sa finally managed to avoid all of the crags, thanks to his familiarity with this beach, and he dragged Zhou up the beach. As soon as the two of them reached the beach, Soon Sa was completely exhausted, and he slumped down over Zhou's body, retching up a puddle of water. "Are you looking to die?" Soon Sa roared with all of his strength. Zhou convulsed constantly, and Soon Sa startled, immediately moving to pinch Zhou Yu's nose. He leaned down and started to perform CPR, pressing down on his chest and breathing into his mouth. After several rounds, Zhou Yu coughed violently, and he hacked out bitter seawater. Cramps. Zhou Yu looked completely bedraggled as he lay on his side on the beach. The waves grew larger and larger and more exaggerated. The windstorm had evidently not passed yet, and it came at them, blotting out the sky and the earth, as if it wanted to drag the two of them back under. Sun Sa helped Zhou Yu up, letting him sling his arm over Sun Sa's shoulder. With no more room to talk, they ran towards the dike. "I didn't bring my key," Sun Sa bemoaned. The wind was so strong that it was about to sweep the entire dorm building away. In the dark night, the palm trees danced in the wind, as if they were about to be completely uprooted. Zhou Yu shouted into Sun Sa's ear, "Go to the garage." "What?" Sun Sa asked. The dorms had already been closed, and Sun Sa did not wish to be marked down for not returning to the dorms that night, not when he was so close to vacation. With that, he and Zhou Yu snuck into the garage. The garage was finally quiet. Zhou Yu took off his pants, and with his back to Zhou Yu, he wrung out the water in his board shorts. Both of them were covered in sand, and Zhou Yu still had seaweed on his lower back. "Get in the car," Zhou Yu said. Sun Sa wiggled back into his board shorts, but just as he was about to ask, "You don't even have your keys, how are you supposed to drive this car?" Zhou Yu pressed his finger against the door, and with a beep, the doors sprung open. A minute later, the engine rumbled, and the Ferrari sped out of the garage, driving through the school gates amidst the torrential storm. "Let me drive," Sun Sa said. "You, stop." Zhou Yu had no choice but to admit defeat, and in the end, the two of them swapped spots. The sports car raced by like the wind, speeding over the road across the top of the dam, sweeping like a torrential storm onto the highway. Sun Sa stepped down on the gas pedal barefoot, and as the day ended, he passed through the roiling, angry seas. It was as if the sports car was speeding through a tunnel formed by the curtain of water, which would, from time to time, crash down at them like arrows of water shot from an army charging towards them, or send up sudden rumbles of thunder from the earth below. The moment that the sports car raced out of the water, they could no longer tell the sky and the land apart. "Yahoo!" Sun Sa whistled. The curtain of rain fell over the glass windows, and the wipers swept back and forth. The lights by the side of the road flashed, shining across that vast stretch of highway. Zhou Yu was exhausted, and he turned on the cruise control. Their destination was a villa at the foot of the mountains to the north. End chapter.